Oh, Jared's back. Pretend like nothing happened.
He didn't hear that.
What?
Nothing. What's up, everybody? Here it is, the first official episode 1 of Table Talk, a podcast where three mediocre and average nerds talk about some of the cool things that are happening, because it is a great summer to be a nerd so far.
That's
and
true.
There's a lot of fun stuff happening, a lot of fun stuff that has already happened since we gave this big old thing a try and recorded a pilot. So let me introduce ourselves if you're true in the purest form and listening to episode 1 of the Table Talk podcast. I'm Nate. I am one of 3 nerdy hosts. Joining me are 2 of the nerdiest and coolest people that I know, Mr. Jared the Daddy Clark.
Hello.
And Mason the Hidden Snowball Sayer.
That's me, and my name's backwards.
It is. It reads.
It reads normally. I feel
Yeah,
like.
to me it does.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when they're watching the recording, it's gonna be backwards.
Oh.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Well, we are. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're a true fan and you're listening to this, I'm gonna be honest with you. We are recording this episode 1 for the second time because we had just some traumatic technical issues the first time we recorded this, and then life happened and we got busy, and then everyone went to camp and everyone had like birthdays and stuff, and here we are back half of June recording the May 29th podcast.
Sometimes
yes,
your
we
internet
will
goes
care.
down, and then there's 2 summer camps, and then you have
Right.
things, and sometimes that just happens.
He's
Right.
right. He's right. So we're gonna try to rip through as much information as we can, but also have fun with it, and not try to be like evening news about it. But there's a lot of fun stuff because, like I said, it's a great time to be a nerd. We have some announcements too. We're on Patreon now. We did it. We did the thing. We got some
We grew
tiers here. Not like cry yourself to sleep tiers, but just like
Levels.
levels.
A very
yeah.
good
So if you like
EDM
to
song.
level up, I have
Do
it
like
right here.
RPGs.
So yeah, if you like the pilot and you're like, oh, this is fun, these guys are kind of cool, I'm gonna throw a couple bucks at them, like literally a couple bucks. Got the noob tier, that's $2 a month. That scales up to casual. You can take a read at our patreon.com slash
Journeyman?
something.
I think it's Journeyman.
Yeah, Journeyman. I think it's either Journeyman or Journeyman Studios. But
One of those. You can
Sweaty
find it.
Try Hard up to $25 a month is a bit more. And if you just want to go all in, if you're like just sitting there and it's been a great summer for you, you've been mowing a lot of lawns, you just have extra cash floating around, you're like, these guys are awesome, and I want to like accelerate the quality of this content. And I'm dropping a penny a month at this. You can be a master of the realm. So that's a little D&D
Thanks, Grandma.
reference there. Yep.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of
shout out.
different
tier.
things that you can get in each of those levels that will
Yeah, dude.
make you want to increase your levelage. So make sure to check
Yep.
those out. It's like things like easy as like joining our Discord to, I think the last level is like will help you build a magic deck and like maybe be in like a one shot. I don't know, crazy things.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, we have a goal. And if we can hit the goal, we'll pick a random Patreon member to join us on a one shot DM'd by our very own Jared the Daddy. So
I mean, if
It'll be
you
fun.
like Pirates of the Caribbean meets Treasure Planet meets, I don't know, just I don't want to say too much about the one shot, but it might be some of the best stuff I've ever written.
I love the idea of you're like, if you love Pirates of the Caribbean meets Bambi meets Avengers, it's just like everything.
Meets Power Rangers Galactic Force, like just sub to our Patreon, please.
yeah,
My kid
yeah.
needs to eat, basically.
Oh,
like,
man.
Sense and sensibility, it's
for
just
$2 a month, you can feed my child.
meets
Well, let's-
Pippi Longstockings.
Let's
meets-
organize this back into a little bit of a format. We each have some super awesome things that have happened in the last 2 months since we recorded the pilot. I'm gonna let Porter
True.
take it away here.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, I'm engaged now.
Yeah!
This is episode 1. I'm engaged. I am engaged to be married, engaged to be wed.
Oh my-
Uh,
Sorry, that just hit me. I was like, engaged. Engaged.
Yep.
Oh, he's getting married.
He's just really into the
married.
podcast.
So exciting.
Found the one. She's pretty great. She puts up with all my nonsense. She
Dude,
went,
she went
that's
to
always
with me
con with you,
Comic-Con.
didn't she?
Yeah, I real talk. I kind of gave her like some general etiquette real quick. Like, if you do happen to see something like you're like, oh my gosh, that's so and so. Like, it's actually like you do have to ask permission to take photos, and that's just like common etiquette. And then we get there, and I kind of gave her a little bit of overview, and then there's a Spider-Man in front of us. And one important Comic-Con detail I forgot to tell you, and tell her, and she looked at me, and I was like, "Ooh, really important. Everyone's costume is a little bit too tight."
Yeah. That'll get you.
And she turns to me, looks stone faced. She says, "That's Spider-Man. At least he has a lot of confidence."
It's a lot of anatomy lessons at cons. Things you didn't ask for.
Yeah, truth. And I said, you can come to me one time and you never have to come with me again. But that was part of our vacation weekend, and then we headed up to beautiful Traverse City. Hung out with your brother, Jared, your older brother.
Yeah.
Yep, didn't
That was
hang
a
out
good
with
time,
me.
but yeah, that's us. And that's true. I didn't. And also, I turned 32, so I had a birthday.
Dang.
But those been my 2 months. Mason, what's you up to?
I've been super invested in there's so many video game things coming out, but I'm gonna wait on that. I'm just talking about my nerd. My nerd thing is I got a bunch of D&D podcast stickers. So like all the different podcasts I listen to, things like Dimension 20, Dungeons and Daddies, Critical Role, The Adventure Zone, a bunch of references to those. I got about 23 stickers, and now that they are decorating my DM screen, and so
That's cool.
Yeah,
It is really cool to look at. It's also it's like a cool distraction. It's like a fun thing to look at when you're like sitting next to him and he's like giggling at his stickers.
A party. Yeah.
When I'm murdering my players, this is what they're seeing, all these references and fun things on this custom made DM screen that my dad helped me make.
We'll throw some pictures up on the Patreon.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
I love just teasing that Patreon. Hey, another thing we throw on the Patreon, that half episode we made.
Right.
Where my internet crashed.
That half episode?
Yeah.
The cleanliness of that half episode when we weren't...
Half off apps.
Half off apps. Yes.
Yo.
That is... We've been
bloops.
thinking of a cool name for that.
Just a bunch of bloops and just a bunch of half episodes that didn't make the cut. Oh, we got it. Yep.
Amazing.
That's going on the Pate.
We have more content for our Patreon than we do our actual podcast right now.
We really
this
do.
Is true.
You should go.
Yeah, that's why you should go check it out.
We have another technical difficulty issue where it's 15 minutes of me listening to Jared talk about D&D, but I didn't record his audio.
Oh, I know.
So it's just me like every 5 minutes being like, "Oh, dude, that's sweet."
Because I literally was pitching you, like I was pitching you and our Patreon subscribers this new campaign I'm going to run, which Mason's in it, and oh my gosh, yeah,
it was so well told.
It was a great time. We talked
I
about
don't know what I'm
Zero.
doing.
I
32.
There's also on Patreon. There's going to be a tour of my background here of all this stuff I have.
I love that.
I recorded when my internet went out. So yeah, we have a bunch of cool stuff, and I'm super excited about that.
Go check it out. Our
podcast was also shouted out on another podcast recently, the What Are We Talking About Today podcast. Shout out to them.
Great.
Great
stuff.
And by them, I mean me, because I edited that episode. So
it's all good.
But Jared, what have you been up to the last few months? What are you doing?
My gosh, the past 2 months, it's been like a straight like D&D grind for me.
Oh yeah.
Just like writing this new campaign with my brother, I think it's been one of the most fun experiences I've had in the past couple months. And just this new form of D&D DMing that I've been really liking doing, and then getting I think I've always been into Magic. I've consistently been into Magic, but I think I've gotten my view of Magic has changed over the past couple months. We talk about that. We'll talk about that later in the podcast. But getting into Commander, being forced to, I got bit by the bug the past couple months, and I think I'm at 3 decks already. And
wow,
yeah, we'll get into it. But that's been a thing. Then I think for those who are really into the lore and can kind of guess the timing of this, yesterday was Father's Day. And so it was my second Father's Day with Teddy, my son, and it was a ton of fun. Literally ton of fun. Just sat on the deck.
Beautiful boy,
dude. The biggest thing is I've been narrowing down what D&D class he is.
Oh yes, I want this update.
I don't want to press that upon him. Like, hey, this is what you are. I just want to be like, hey, as your father, this is what I think right now, until you can decide. I love
the idea of Jared sitting down with a player's handbook and he just goes, "Hi, my 2-year-old. Look at this.
Yeah.
Read it. Know it. This is you."
Exactly. This is 100% you. I think he's a multi-class. Right now.
That's valid.
One, I think he's a wizard because he points at everything and goes, this. He just wants to know what it is, and that's a wizard. I just want to know what that is, and
building that in score, yeah.
And I think he's also multi-classing as a barbarian, because
of rage,
just straight rage. And I've seen him put his body weight behind things and move full like love seats, and like the dude is a freaking unit. And so he's not as big as his nephew, but he's tackled his nephew. His nephew. Wow, his nephew, his cousin. So, but he's a stinking unit. Yeah, my nephew. Beyond that, I've kind of jumped into PC gaming a little bit on the computer.
Whoa!
I know it's a cardinal sin, but all I have is a Mac. Okay,
it's not.
Dude, you want to hear one of the things that we won't be covering in podcast, but more in my area of the world. I watched for my job. I had to watch an 1.5-hour long Apple Direct, basically, where they introduced all the new things that Apple's doing. Basically making Apple gaming a thing for like their computers. It's called like, oh no, I shouldn't have gone into this without knowing it. But basically they have like this new engine that people can build. You know how like you have like the
graphics card, RAM.
Well, yeah, but you have like
I don't know what PC gaming is. I've just gotten into it. So I'm just throwing out what
do they have a mouse?
Is there a space bar? There's a space bar, right?
Anyways, a brand new engine. People have already made like the new Silent Hill for that company made it for Macs now, so you can play that like fully beautifully on Macs.
So interesting.
And they're releasing the M2 chip. They have Macs with M1s. Now they're releasing with M2s, which are even more powerful. So Mac's actually becoming feasible for computer gaming. So that's. I
will say my Mac isn't feasible for computer gaming because all I use it for right now is playing Arena. And then I just downloaded Dead Cells, and that has been a ton of fun playing. It's been, and my Mac runs it. It's not too stressful on my Mac, so
it's a small, fun game. A lot of indie games.
It's a Mac
like
Mini,
that.
so yeah. But I've been having a ton of fun.
Jared, talk to me after this. I'll recommend a ton of games you'll be able to play on that bad boy, and
perfect.
They're super fun.
Perfect.
Good stuff.
And we're recorded and put it on Patreon.
I just want to do a quick yell before we get into a quick hot take. I know there's a lot of games released or hinted at or trailers released. But in 2022 and early 2021, gaming companies, where are the games? That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
This year,
I'll answer your hot take. They're being pushed back because they're not done yet.
Yeah, I'll also double down on your hot take.
To the company who pre-releases an unfinished product these days.
Honestly, Thank you for calling me out on that, voice. I appreciate that.
That
was a good humbling moment for me because I was like, man, I have a PS5 and I want to play the crap out of it, but I don't have games.
So,
but I also I genuinely, as I think about it, appreciate the fact that gaming companies are like, you know what, we're going to hold off and we're going to actually rebuild our entire game because we don't want people pissed because people are more prevalent to give their opinions nowadays on how games are. So
I think this might be a great time for me to jump in. We're kind of already in the gaming
because I was gonna say sit tight because that will
literally I was plattering it. I was be like, speaking of video games.
Yeah. So speaking of video games, guys, holy crap! So there's a bunch of video games released in May, the month that we missed. Super fun, super cool things. Games like Trek to Yomi, which is a game for literally everything except Switch. Where you're like a samurai. It's like a 2D game, and you're the young swordsman that's like sworn to protect people. Super cool, very cool thing. We Were Here Forever, a 2-player puzzle game. Void Train has come out of beta. It is a very cool game. Jared's been looking into it a lot. I've been playing it a lot, and it's a very cool game about building a train as you're floating through a void. If you know the game Raft, it's very much so like that. There's a ton of different games also. You can find this list on our Patreon. One of the other cool things. This is one that we talked about a lot in the was Half Off Eps episode.
Half Off Eps
of episode 1. And it's called Multiverses. It's a brand new game from Warner Brothers. There's a whole roster of these wild characters like Finn and Jake. There is Batman. You have a character from what's that game? What's the show? Swords, Dragons.
Adventure Time?
He's not wrong.
You're not wrong. Arya Stark's in the game. Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
I'm so excited.
That was a good poll though. Adventure Time.
Adventure Time.
So it's super cool. That's in there. Once again, listen to the Patreon episode. But the coolest thing happened.
What?
We have gone through COVID, obviously. Last 2 years, that's been a big thing. I don't know if you guys knew about that. So a lot of games have been being released. Not a lot of people have been able to be working on games and doing that kind of stuff. But we had what is the equivalent of E3 just happened. E3 is basically the video game event that happens in person, but they're not really doing it right now because kind of somewhere. But there's a thing called Summer Games Fest that happens. It's streamed on Twitch in this last few weeks ago. And there were so many games released. I'm going to compile a list and post it on our Patreon. But and I'm going to highlight ones that I find interesting. I'm just going to point out a few here. Starting with a game called, I think it's just called Schim. Spelled SCHIM.
Okay.
And it is a super cool indie game. We're going to start indie and kind of go further. About, basically, you are the shadow of a frog trying to get back to your frog.
What?
And you basically...
It's like Shadow Knight, whatever it is.
This is really cool. It's like a eagle's eye view. It's very cool. You can only move in shadows. And so you jump from shadow to shadow. And you help other lost shadows get back to their objects. It is very cool puzzle adventure game. It's like a platformer, but like there's like humans walking by like your shadow. You're like in a tree shadow, and like a human walk by. You jump into their shadow, move with them, and then like jump into a trash can shadow. It is super cool game.
Is it a prequel to Frogger?
It might be a prequel to Frogger, or what happens after Frogger dies. Who knows?
It's a prequel to Frogger. Frogger's Last Stand. This time, it's for keeps.
But it's super cool. So, and you can just like, super awesome. Yeah, that super cool game. Next one that I really want to bring up, Hollow Knight Silksong. So, Hollow Knight quickly became one of my favorite games of all time, up there with Legend of Zelda. And if you haven't played it, I would highly recommend it. It is hard.
You got a lot of Zelda love.
I got a lot of Zelda love.
This is a lot of Zelda love.
It is hard, so I watched a playthrough of it before I played it, because even just the game mechanics are awesome, but there's this massive lore, and the music's amazing, the combat's so fun. And that was released in 2015, I want to say, or 2017. And in 2019, they revealed Hollow Knight Silksong, which takes on a new character being the protagonist, the first main boss you fight, who ends up being like a person that's like trying to test your will and like is actually like trying to help you the whole time. But it was announced in 2019, and then nothing. We had nothing for almost what's been the timeline? 3 years. And then so that was on a Nintendo Direct, and then this was on an Xbox Direct that they finally showed new content for it. And so the cool thing is that it didn't give a release date, but Xbox said that everything that they showed in their show is coming out in the next 2 years. So this super awesome game that I love a ton is hopefully coming out within the next 2 years. The mechanics look so fun. It is much more based on platforming and the new abilities that you can unlock. There's like quests now, and it is super fun. If you don't know what it is, I would highly recommend looking it up. Super fun, super cool. Hollow Knight Silksong. And we're hopping up another tier, hopping into AAA games here. That game, by the way, is made by Team Cherry, which shout out to their team. They got hit hard by COVID, and I'm super proud of them. Coming back to it. And then the first game, remember who posted it. Anyways, super interesting news. Do you guys know the game Last of Us?
Yeah.
Yes.
They are remastering remastering the first Last of Us game with insanely high quality details. That game came out
next gen
a long time ago. Yeah,
it did. So it's one of my favorite games of all time.
They're going to be releasing it for next gen consoles and all that stuff too. And then they also announced with a single screenshot in just text that they are going to be making a multiplayer Last of Us game.
Shut up.
Co-op multiplayer. And if I was a massive fan. I haven't played the second one. Someone said it right when they're like, you're either like a diehard, like, I love the second Last of Us game, it's the best game in existence, or you're like, I hate it, it's the worst game ever. I'm not sure because I haven't played it yet.
I could spend like an hour talking about that, but we won't.
But the first game...
I would say the Last of Us, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm gonna maybe make a hot take. It might be a little bold, but it was one of like the groundbreaking like storytelling games.
Yeah.
Where it was like of that time where it's like, hey, video games are cool not just for like nerds in an arcade, but like have capacity to tell an amazing story.
Yeah.
And it was like you would point to The Last of Us as an example of that.
It was like a Telltale game with fun gameplay. Like rather than just being like, oh,
it was
they will remember this.
It was like one of those games that came out and like one blew you away on a graphical level.
Yeah.
Because it was ahead of its time story wise. And also it was like one of those games where like the first 5 minutes, if you were unaware, could have put you into an emotional state. Like
I cried multiple times during that game.
Several times throughout that game. And even with Last of Us 2, I cried several times throughout that game. It was one of the last, before I had Teddy, like RPG multiplayer style games, or not multiplayer, but like single player games that I played, and it just was one of the most beautiful experiences I've had gaming because the game is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, there's flaws in storytelling, right? And there's some flaws in the writing. Beyond that, it's still a Last of Us game, and it was still beautiful. And at me if you have an issue with it. So.
You join our Patreon, and we're in the Discord, and yell at us in the Discord while paying us $2
tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong.
So another thing that Naughty Dog, the company making Last of Us, has released is a Last of Us TV show. Going to
I did hear about that.
Do you know who is going to be playing Joel?
No.
Our favorite actor who loves taking in small children to take them on a quest, Pedro Pascal.
You're lying.
Who played the Mandalorian.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
What did I miss just now?
Did you lag out?
It's Pedro Pascal playing
Joel.
Right?
There's their action.
There it is.
Let's go!
Sorry,
right?
My reaction exploded over your audio, and I
was like, what did he say? Who is he?
I am.
Is it Morgan Freeman or Chris Pratt? What are those two?
So yeah, our favorite adoptive dad, once again adopting another child.
Happy Father's Day.
Pedro Pascal shall be playing Joel. Ellie is going to be played by Bella Ramsey, who I don't know who is. She is apparently I think she's in Game of Thrones. Yes, she's in Game of Thrones. She's nobleman Lyanna Mormont. I haven't seen Game of Thrones. But she will be playing Ellie from The Last of Us. So super cool. It looks super good. They actually had the original voice actors on set for the entire show, and they're actually going to be main characters in the show.
Our girl Ashley Johnson's in it.
Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker are in the show as main characters. They were there helping Pedro and Bella with their lines and everything, and like getting the base of the character. So super cool. It's going to be super awesome. Super excited for that. And the last thing in my little area of the world, and the little video game reveal, is that we're finally... I don't know about you guys. I have, for some reason, been obsessed with space recently. Like, I've run multiple space one-shots. I've been playing a lot of space video games. And I'm super excited to say that Bethesda finally did it. And they finally revealed Starfield. They finally announced it. They finally got it out to the public. The trailer is here. It is so good. Everyone has been talking about how it's a lot like No Man's Sky, which is fair. But someone made a really good point of people were like, oh, this is just another space game where you can build your ship and fly it around. Like, yeah, but like if you have two perfectly good cakes sitting out on the table, why would you complain about having two rather than one cake? You know what I mean?
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. And if you have a perfectly good cake and then someone hands you another one, why are you complaining about it? But it looks so good. Yeah. The shooting, the not having loot boxes, it not being Fallout 76, it not being multiplayer, which I'm perfectly fine with because Fallout 76 was chaotic and they've updated a lot. Fallout 76, they did another reveal trailer.
Comeback story, honestly, like as far as like a successful video game, that is a huge comeback story for them. So
yeah,
shout out to them for grinding that back to like a decent video game from the travesty it was at launch. But
and they just during the Starfield announcement, just before that, they announced a brand new area, brand new storylines, brand new worlds, all free DLC. There's a ton of free DLC for it. There's a lot of grinding in 76, but it's kind of worth it in terms of hours and price. And so it's called The Pit. Brand new story, brand new weapons, brand new enemies, brand new NPCs. Super cool looking. I'm so excited about Starfield. You can build your own ship. There's like over like 30,000 galaxies. Yeah, you can build your own ship. You can get onto the ship that you just built that has, you can be like, oh, I want like a bathroom here, and then there will be a bathroom there, and you can like add
like
engines
Sims
to outside.
Meets Elite Dangerous.
Yes, exactly. And then you can go to any of these like 3,000, what, I don't remember the number exactly, some crazy amount of world, and you can land on any planet in any of those galaxies at any point on any of those planets. and just explore.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks crazy.
That sounds so dope.
Over 1,000.
Also sounds kind of scary that like there's a lot of room for error because that's
true.
Big game, right? You could run into the No Man's Sky reality or like we said, the Fallout 76, where it just becomes like a lonely game,
right?
You know, like
the cool
or an empty
is,
game.
The cool thing is it being a single player game. There's always an objective, right? So there's going to be that main plot line that's going to drive you to go to all these different places. So, like, you're going to explore and you're going to adventure. You're going to do things like you can also build your own colony, kind of like Fallout 4, where you build your own colony and you can just, like, select a random planet and be like, okay, this planet and this area, and this is where I start building my colony.
Love it.
And then... But yeah, you're going to have objectives. You're going to have a main plot line. So this plot line is going to take you to different planets, to different star stations, and you're going to fight against aliens and humans and creatures alike. And you're gonna get a full adventure, and then you can still explore afterwards. So I think it's going to be better than the No Man's Sky release. Or I hope so, because it looks so good. I would highly recommend watching the trailer.
I do wonder if there's a still, even for me, there's a void out there for people who wanted an amazing new Halo story.
Yeah.
That itch has not been scratched.
Yeah.
For a lot of people. I wonder if there's a hole there, and this is going to drop right into it and just say, oh, you want your Odyssey, your Space Odyssey adventure, first-person shooter? Here you go.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Right.
No multiplayer, no split screen, no nothing. Just go and be the hero.
Yeah. It's also like I don't know if you guys have heard of the game Star Citizen, you know.
Yep.
The game's been in beta since before I was born.
Been a long
but
time.
like it's been a long time, but like it's one of those things where it's like it's one of the most beautiful games, one of the most cool, expansive games on the planet with spaceships, and it's kind of the same premise, you know.
Yeah.
They're still building the game out. But like it's one of these where it's like, I mean, if you're into that space exploration type game, RPG style game, like that again can scratch that itch as well. Like that sounds epic.
Yeah. So it looks super awesome. I don't think they gave a release date for that. 2023. So next year sometime. Same with most things. It seems like 2023. Except that first Frog game, I believe, is coming out at the end of this year. So, yeah, super cool. And once again, there's a ton of other games. Go check it out. It is so cool. There's going to be a list.
Can I give a 30-second game recommendation?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Like 25. You have 25 seconds.
25 seconds. Okay, the game is called Kenobi Bridge of Spirits. That's something that I just started playing recently. It's such an easy game to get into as far as like a single player story game. It's $40 on PS5. The basic premise is you're playing as a young sorcerer named Kenna, and you're traveling from these hidden villages that are overgrown by the forest, trying to find a mountain shrine, and there's these corrupt spirits that you have to fight. It's very Souls-esque, the combat is. But along the way, you pick up these little spirits called the Rot, R-O-T, and they're like super tiny, and they're super chubby, and it's the cutest thing on the planet. And by the way, you can collect certain things in the game and buy hats for them.
Love buying hats. And gamers love hats.
Come on. But it's just so much fun. It's a beautiful game, really good story, like really easy to get into, like not like you don't have to sit there and grind it out. Like it's a lot of fun. So I suggest playing Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
Yeah, the Spirit Realm. What a place.
What a place.
You know who is the bridge from the Spirit Realm to the regular realm?
What?
The Avatar?
The Avatar. And I have a little bit of spicy news that has come out recently that I think is super cool.
Yeah.
Not too long ago, we got Avatar Studios, which obviously they're missed for not just calling themselves Team Avatar. That one was right there. I don't know why they didn't. Super easy. But they've announced 3 animated movies coming over the next few years.
How did I not know this?
The director is what's her name? She is Lauren Montgomery, who worked on the original Avatar series. So there are 3 movies coming now. There's not tons of details, but it looks like we'll get all 3 by the end of 2026.
Wow. That's
basically the movies, what they will be about is also not super specific, but the first one will be about Avatar Kyoshi.
We love Kyoshi.
We love Kyoshi. Yeah, so that'll be super fun. The next one will be like a Zuko specific story. I don't know if it's going to be like post or pre. I'd love to see like a post.
I'd love to
see Zuko story
between Korra and Aang.
Sick.
And then the third one will be set in the Legend of Korra time period.
Yeah.
So a lot of details still unsure about those, but if as long as they're good, that's the thing. That's the thing these days is.
Yeah.
As long as it's good, I'm here for it. But
Gib.
I'm really excited because Kyoshi is such a fun avatar. Like you get to know her so much. The original series. It's super fun. So Kyoshi, I'm glad that like she gets her own movie.
She actually has a book, like a full, like it's not like a webcomic or anything. It's like a full like 300-page book of all about Avatar Kyoshi. I feel like they might just take that story because it's actually really good. I found it at Barnes and Nobles or whatever it was, and I was just like, "Oh snap!" Dang, dude, that's so exciting.
It is fun. I'm excited for it.
I saw a this. So I don't know if this is any official, but I saw a TikTok of the new live action Avatar stuff coming out here soon for Netflix. Mm-hmm. Uncle Iroh was like literally the person acting as Uncle Iroh. He's just like, I'm so disappointed in the people who are not giving this a shot. And like, I feel like people who do that just like don't have like something in their lives. They just need something to always like grind on. And I want people to. It's like, oh my gosh, this guy is Uncle Iroh. Like he is actually Uncle Iroh. And then also the person playing Avatar Kyoshi was like, screw those guys. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Kyoshi.
She nails Kyoshi. Like when the guy who plays Uncle Iroh was like giving that speech about like come on guys, just enjoy something. Like just be excited about it. Stop being so speculative about it. It gave you the same feeling that when the guy who played what's his name from Blue's Clues,
Steve,
when he like posted that video like a couple years ago and being like, hey, I'm proud of you. It gave you that exact same feeling, but a different emotion, We're like, wow, I just got daddied up on by Uncle Iroh. We're like, I never had those thoughts about like, hey, this is like, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm just excited about it. But like, I felt bad for those people who were just dogging it,
Yeah.
So it just looks so cool. It looks so cool.
Yeah, lots of good stuff.
Before we move on from Avatar, I want to bring up there was back in 2001, last year. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but there is a Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Legend of Korra tabletop role playing game that came out.
Yeah,
it's official and everything too. You can find it, you can get it, and it's really well done. Like really well done. It allows you. It basically has like 2 places. You can either take place during the Korra timeline or the Aang timeline. And you can like it has all the different classes. It has, I think it has air, earth, water, fire, and then it also has chi blocker, and then just like swordsman, weapons person. Like
that's cool.
That's kind of like Sokka was. And so yeah, it's really well fleshed out. I would highly recommend playing it. I would love to do like a one shot with you guys or something with that.
That'd be dope. Cool. I'd be down.
Oh, I'd be dope. I'd be dope, but I would. I'd be
dope. We're all dope. So
I'd be dope. With that.
And if you're a Patreon, you're also
so
dope
with that. Yep. Amen.
Yeah. If you support our Patreon, you're dope.
If you were just waiting for that last push, there it was.
Boom. That's your reasoning for it.
So we are on item 2 of our list, so we should probably smack through some of this stuff.
We're just so excited to talk again.
It's just so fun to be a nerd. It really is. Just talk about.
We're just gonna have to edit so much out. Oh, sorry.
What if we split this up? What if we just split it up? We just keep going and cut the episode in 2.
And that's the end of today's episode.
What if Porter just edits out all of our ranting and stuff, and then the full unedited part will be in the Patreon?
I just edit it. All it is me talking and you laughing at my jokes.
The Porter cut.
That's it. The Porter director's cut.
Yeah, we can definitely just record as much and then just see where it goes.
Yeah, I feel like we're shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit when we were like, "Hey, we got to stop right now." Like, I feel like we kind of need to have a little bit more visually perfect. But I feel like we just keep going with that natural vibe of us talking and communicating.
Yeah, Porter.
I'm sorry.
I don't mean to shoot you down, Porter. I just was saying. I feel like.
Oh, I just.
Porter, honestly, enjoy life. Porter wants to go to bed.
I'll cut this. I'll edit this out, but you're actually probably
leave it in.
Right. And we could probably okay.
Okay, it's fine.
This is for Patreons.
I just don't we can cut it. We can cut it, and we'll do a secondary intro at the end here.
What Porter wants is for him to have less work.
That's what I'm saying. Don't edit it. Just cut
it.
I feel that.
Do 35-minute episodes, and we just release one a day. It'd be perfect.
It's not bad.
It'd be perfect.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's just a whole bunch of intros.
If you listen to the end of this newest Wowta episode, I say I cut 45 minutes of me, Wyatt, and Jared talking about anime.
That is true. I'm so sorry about
that. No, it's fine because I already had a 50-minute episode of WowTat, and then just as soon as that was, we had 40 minutes of us talking about anime, and I was in on the conversation, but I was like, "This is more table talk." So, but yeah.
And here's the thing: if you like this vibe, go check out the "What Are We Talking About Today" podcast.
It's so true.
Great stuff. Mason runs that with some other guys. If you go deep into the files of it, you'll hear Jared. You'll even hear me in a few sprinkled here and there.
Deep in the files.
So.
Deep in the files.
I'm in the files.
The most recent one has Jared, and then the most recent one after that has you.
Yeah, I get myself in there way more than I should. It's just
I do that. I get myself in there.
Podcast. Being a guest on a podcast is just a gateway drug. It really is.
It really is.
It's a gate. A Balders Gate.
Oh,
hey,
MTG's set came out last a couple 3 weeks ago at this point. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hit a few things real quick.
Lay it on thick.
Went to the pre-release. I went to 2 pre-release events. One absolutely got smacked. Got my my lands bent in, if you know what I'm saying. Oof. And then second one, I did much better.
Nice.
Actually put together a really decent deck. Some solid synergy, stayed back, didn't swing, didn't get too aggressive, won my pod, prizes were awarded.
Yes.
And then
there you go.
In this set, some really cool stuff. One is that there are ancient dragons in this set, super fun. All of them involve a D20 rolling mechanic.
So cool.
Maybe they make tokens or treasures or graveyard retrieval, stuff like that, based on how high you roll on a D20. So, in theory, with I think it's the brass. No, it's the ancient gold dragon. When you do combat damage, you roll that D20 and create a 1/1 blue fairy dragon for anything on that. Yeah, so that's really crazy. Actually, it's right here in my hand because I pulled it and played it. And it was super fun.
You nerd.
I played it one time, swung with it, and my friend Adam, who went with me, literally killed it before it could do anything cool. No. And I was like, "You rascal!"
What's the name of that card again?
This is the ancient gold dragon.
Got it.
It's an elder dragon type. So super fun. In my prizes, there's some really cool. Obviously, they brought back the the D&D art style, which is super cool. They brought back, or they created a mechanic called background, which is also a little bit of a color fixer for specific colors, commanders in this set. So it might be a mono black, which means only black. commander, but the commander might say choose a background. You can choose a background of any color. Background is an enchantment that you cast from your command zone, and it can be any color, which would allow you to have 2 colors. So you could have a black commander.
That's so cool.
A white background, and run your whole deck of white and black cards.
That's awesome.
It is super cool. I really enjoyed running those. And the backgrounds are spicy. Some of them are really great. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that, and I rolled right out of that into prize pack. Like I said, you can get some really cool stuff. They have a lot of the MTG like style. But I guess I'll just go ahead and just show you this Ancient Copper Dragon alternate art foil I pulled in my prize. So fun. So fun. I cracked that and just was like, let's go.
You're so proud of yourself. And I'm proud of you.
Now. I'm price checking these right now. So let me just lay some stuff on you. Number one, your Ancient Gold Dragon is a $20 card. Your alternate art foil Copper Dragon is a $70, if not $80 card.
I'm getting married in October. And there's a good chance at some point I'm going to be flipping all these cards to pay for stupid things like flowers and a tie.
I love the reaction of you going like, oh, you're like, I saw the thought process of you going like, wow, that's a lot of, I need that.
I could,
for like other things.
The responsible thing, I should really redistribute
I
this
should be
asset.
responsible.
I should really redistribute this asset.
But it was a super fun pod, forcing everyone into Commander. You basically build a 60 card Commander deck. Forcing everyone into Commander is super fun. I like Commander. I think that, but it's already the middle of June, which means we've said it before. We'll say it again. Magic is really great at being like this. Baldur's Gate is the only thing you need to talk about, think about, dream about, and then the week after it's released, boom, Double Masters spoilers.
Double Masters 2022. Holy cow! Just to hit off what you said about Commander, I wrote a note in our show notes. I am coming from a place where I before this week, strongly disliked Commander. I thought it was too long, not fun, hard to build decks, like not very synergistic. I gave it a shot. I legitimately gave it a fair shot. And I'll say this: make a Commander deck, get over it. And then I wrote, "Okay, love you, bye." Yes, it's not as hard as you think it is.
That's true. I see that here.
It's not. It's really not as hard as you think it is. It is a lot more fun. There's so many resources out there that'll help you build a Commander deck, and I think I've had more fun recently because it's so lighthearted playing Commander than I've had playing 60 card.
Oh, this is my fault for going to camp rather than hanging out with Jared on a Tuesday. Oh no, he became a Commander, and I was gone for 1 week.
Into a Commander player while you were gone.
Mason is my only bastion for 60 card play, and I'm a very spiky 60 card player, and like modern and standard and all that. And I was like, I guess I'll give Commander a try, and it was like you can cast spells in Commander that you're like you see cards, you're like, well, that's cool, but I don't think I can make a deck around it. The mana cost is too big. It's hard to combo off. But you can play that card in Commander and cast it on turn 2, and it's like, oh, it makes sense. Like it's crazier. It's not as hard as you think it is. Like there's so many resources out there. Give it a shot. Like I know people take really long on their turns. Encourage them to go faster. And things like that. Like just have fun with it. But double master spoilers.
Just before you say that.
Yeah.
In Commander, especially if you can get a good pod of friends, you're going to play a lot of cards and probably lose. You're going to sit there for an hour and people are going to board wipe, and then you have built your board back up, and then someone's going to board wipe, and you're going to play for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and you're going to lose. And that's okay. Just like Commander's way more about playing cards than it is about winning, I think. I feel like it's showcasing stupid combos. If you actually go watch the latest episode, it's a few weeks old now, of the Command Zone. That YouTube channel is fantastic. They're the guys who played like a while ago they played with Post Malone.
Yeah.
This guy, there are a couple great combos in that deck, but one of the players pops off with an artifact deck, and his turn must have in real time actually taken so freaking long.
Oh, for sure.
But it was so fun to watch because it's like you really have to think so clearly.
Yeah.
Like sometimes
so
I'll play
true,
these
yeah.
pre-release events and I'll feel like I took a standardized test in 8th grade because I was like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking for 2.5 hours straight. This is ridiculous.
It's a huge chess game. And the reality is if you're playing at a table, you don't have to do like a group of 6 guys playing. Like you can do 2v2s, 1v1s, like it's so much fun. Find a deck that sounds fun and play it, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I realized that like I could be competitive and I could have my tournament ready 60 card decks and all that. But Commander is more about like just sitting back and casting some spells and like just talking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think a super important part of Commander isn't necessarily the gameplay sometimes. It's that it is going so long you can sit and talk and joke and hang out with your friends.
Yep.
Or write an entire D&D campaign like I did.
Exactly. Like
in
give
one
it
game.
a shoot, you know? Like I literally have been building the past couple days 2 decks. I'm gonna throw them really quick at you guys. I'm building a Giants Wizards tribal deck.
Ooh.
It is a Jeskai Giants.
I know
Wizards.
who you're there. I know who's in there.
And so just a lot of fun with that. It's just basically like a front line of Giants with a whole bunch of spells behind it. And then my favorite one that I'm really excited about is Abzan Life Gain or Death and Taxes, where I literally just play spells and creatures. I do not attack, and I just sit there and gain life, and everybody else just loses life. So
you got veto up in that?
Oh, of course I do.
My best. I wouldn't say I play at a highly competitive level, but my most consistent and most dirty deck is a mono black veto.
Oh, 100%. So it's Abzan, because there's some crazy life gain token shenanigans when you throw in green to that. And so just creating a wall of creatures, gaining a ton of life, make people lose life without attacking, control the board, and having it. And just sitting back and talking, you know, that's basically it. So, speaking of sitting back and talking, let's just go over some Double Masters. Double Masters, the point of Double Masters, if you don't know, is to really do reprints to bring down prices of very high, expensive, and high sought after cards, which really screws up if you're one of those like MTG market guys. It's card games, get over yourself.
They're pieces of cardboard.
Yeah, it's pieces of cardboard. Not crypto.
Watch.
Mine are all pieces of paper. Oh my gosh!
I'm not.
I know it could have been like a 2-cent card, but that still gave me so much stress in half a second.
I watched my son. I was working on some cards, and he's a year and 3 months. And I watched him walk past, pick up a fumigate, and put it in his mouth and keep walking. And I was like, "Oh my god,
you're lucky I love you."
If you don't know what fumigate is, I think it's a 4 or 5 mana spell that destroys all creatures on board, and you gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way.
It's fantastic in Commander board wipe. It's a great card.
That's hilarious.
It's worth a few pennies. I don't know.
Speaking of board wipes, they reprinted Supreme Verdict.
Ooh,
if you don't know what Supreme Verdict is,
explain it to me.
It is a punch in the gut of a Supreme Verdict of a board wipe. It is 1 colorless, 2 white, and a blue. The spell cannot be countered and destroy all creatures. It is just a middle finger of a board wipe. Like you can't counterspell it, you can't return it to somebody's hand. It is a untouchable board wipe, and it is a period on the board.
Dang,
such a good spell.
Board wipes are so dirty in Commander because you have to work so hard.
They're
to make
essential.
Your board
like
Commander.
You got to have 1 or 2 in there just to make sure. Like if things are out of control, you can reset.
Yeah, if things get a little too crazy, and they're like, dude, they're going full bore Commander with this. Like these are a lot of these things are Commander staples. They're reprinting Dockside Extortionist. and their alternate art for a lot of these, the borderless alternate arts are beautiful. They're really well done. It's not like anything extravagant. They just redid the art, and I think it's really tasteful, and I really, really like it. Let's do some other spoilers. One of the things that I'm really excited about is 1,000-Year Storm for my Is It players. 4 colorless, a red and a blue. It's an enchantment, and when you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it for each other instant or sorcery spell you cast before this turn.
Whoa.
You may choose new targets for the spells or for the copies.
That's like, dang, that's like Hearthstone type stuff.
They literally are just copying and pasting Hearthstone. Magic is now just Hearthstone too. Like,
great game, recommend it. Play it if you like Magic.
It's
Super fun.
It's a lot of fun. So that's just, I mean, Is It Spell Slinger is gonna be nuts. They're reprinting Dromoka's Command. Such a good instant. Oh, you know what? Let me just drop some other knowledge on you really quick. They reprinted Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. Mason, let me just tell you what this card does. I don't know if you know what this card is.
Me and all the fans run it.
It's a colorless creature. It's a legendary creature, Eldrazi. 10 colorless mana to cast it. It's a 12/12. It has, when the spell is cast, draw 4 cards. It's got Annihilator 4, which means whenever this creature attacks, defending player sacrifices 4 permanents. They have to.
Oh, gosh.
And then it says whenever Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, is put into the graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles it into the library. So
it
it's
can never
just,
die.
unless you exile it,
Yeah.
it's just coming back.
That's dirty.
Yeah.
The
Mold Drifter. Mold Drifter is also like a super fun blue.
Staple.
It looks expensive, but like the idea is you evoke it for 2 of any color and a blue. When it enters the battlefield, you draw 2 cards. It's a flying fish for 3. It goes to your graveyard, and you find ways to pull it out of the graveyard into the battlefield and just draw 2 cards again. Super fun.
Let me throw this one at you, Mason. This one's nuts. Porter and I were geeking out over this card. It is Divine Visitation.
Ooh.
It is an enchantment. It is 3 colorless and 2 white. If 1 or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead.
That's so disgusting.
So you make a whole bunch of 1/1 pests, right? You have this out. Those 1/1 pests immediately turn into 4/4 flying with vigilance angel tokens.
Or what we just saw from new Capenna, a bunch of citizens. You can create citizens a bunch of different ways with that set, and you can do it with white and green synergy. And
dang.
So good.
Enter the battlefield effects, just stuff like that.
Dude, these cards are wild. These are like you're saying these are like the powerful ones that like people are like it's to
they're
bring
reprinting
the price down
Damnation.
Yeah. Oh my god.
These are all another board wipe.
I'm not much into Magic, as you both know. I do love playing it. It is very fun. I play Standard. And I have trouble building decks sometimes, and
same.
How I do it is I try to take like a single card or like a concept and then build around it. And so I feel like a lot of these are like deck concepts that you can like.
Yeah.
You're just like, I want to make tokens. Boom! I'm gonna add this card in and that.
Yeah. Have you seen this Cryptic Spires card? Super interesting land card for this set.
Okay.
So
I've not seen it.
It's got cool art. On the bottom of the art is the symbol for each one of the mana types. The land says, as you create your deck, circle 2 of the colors below. Cryptic Spires enters the battlefield tapped, and then you can tap 1 mana for either of the circled colors. So like the smart thing before people start writing on their cards and everything, right? The smart thing is going to be just like get sleeves with circles on them. Like that's going to be the smart thing. But on paper, like that's cool. That's just like a
cool
fun
mechanic.
little thing we haven't seen yet. You
That's
want a dual
great.
land card? Just make it.
That's awesome.
That's great. I love that. That's
I
such an
love
unattainable dual land. I just want to speak to Wizards of the Coast directly, real quick.
Yo,
Yes,
what's up?
they're
Our
listening.
podcast is big enough. Wizards, I'm glad you listened to every single episode that we
Yeah.
ever released.
Thank
The
you.
11 people that listen to the pilot,
Yep.
one of them works for Wizards for sure.
One of them
It's
is
probably
the
like
wizard
an
of
IT
the
person
coast.
or a janitor, but like, thank you. But Wizards, how dare you? How dare you have the audacity and the gall to reprint Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh?
I don't know.
How dare you? There's a reason I don't play Grixis, and it's Nicol Bolas, okay? It's a Planeswalker. I'm mad. I'm upset. Let me just read this to you.
I'm upset.
Okay. It is 4 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red. It is +2 abilities. Target opponent exiles a top card of his or her library until they exile a non-land card.
Gross.
Until they exile a non-land card. Until the end of their turn, you may cast that without paying its mana cost, just for +2ing that.
Oh, what?
So they keep exiling until they exile. By the way, they stay in exile, which is ridiculous. And until the end of your turn, when you do this, as long as it's not a non-land card, you can cast that spell without paying its mana cost. So you're playing your opponent's deck.
Wow.
Okay. On top of that, it's +1 abilities. Each opponent exiles 2 cards from their hand. That's just good control. -4 Nicol Bolas deals 7 damage to target opponent. Creature, target opponent, creature and opponent controls, or a planeswalker and opponent controls. And then its -12 ability is exile
-12?
each. Yeah. Yeah. It starts at 7 loyalty.
What the heck?
Each non-land permanent or exile each non-land permanent your opponent's control.
That's disgusting.
It is just. Also, they have the audacity to reprint Ren and 6, which is one of the biggest planeswalkers that I want.
Oh,
It's
yeah, you
just
showed me that.
So freaking expensive.
I put that on a piece of paper for you.
You did. But I love that they're reprinting it because it brings prices down. I think these are I like Double Masters.
Yeah.
Because it brings those prices down. I think one of the coolest spells. I think we were talking about this list. And this could be the last one I share. But it's called Lavalanche. Okay, this is a Jund spell.
That's
it
funny,
is black.
Did you say lava lamp?
Lavalanche?
Lava lamp.
It's Lava Lamp is a spell. This honestly could have been. They could do a secret layer with that. Just call it Lava Lamp. But it's an X, so pay whatever you want. A black, a red, and a green. Lavalanche or Lava Lamp deals X damage to target player or planeswalker, and each creature that player controls, or each creature that planeswalker controls. So it's a one-sided board wipe.
Yeah, it's not even a board wipe. It's you're dead. You're dead.
You're dead.
All your things are
There's
dead.
not much you can do
You're
after this.
Yeah,
Because
it's been real.
because lava
I've
has
created-
lanched onto your side of the. What the heck?
It's lanched.
Or lanced.
Get
Lava lance. I just
Get
lanced
lanced.
you off like the boil from my grandmama's
Oh my
foot.
goodness.
Yeah,
Dang, dude. Magic
it's
is wild.
Magic's
It
crazy.
is. It is
So,
crazy.
Get in a commander. Just do it. Just freaking do it.
Agree.
Just
agree,
play it.
Agree.
Just grab cards. Just grab 60 cards and do something
Then add
with them.
40.
That's 40 and a commander, and you're good to go.
Oh my goodness.
Magic is super fun. Unfortunately, I have some bad news.
Yeah,
It's gonna get a little more expensive.
Oh, yes, I see that.
This
here.
is coming from Magic's as of April 19, 2022. I'll just read this to you verbatim. This is from their website on their page. Over the past year, the cost of goods, transportation, and manufacturing have increased significantly and steadily for just about everyone across nearly every industry. For Wizards of the Coast, this means that we've seen a large spike in overall costs to produce Magic the Gathering. As such, we will be increasing prices by around 11%, allowing for regional variation on select products in our lineup starting in September. We've worked hard to keep draft boosters and later set boosters and collector boosters at a relatively consistent price across our premier sets, the 4 major yearly releases that affect standard format, for as long as we are able. However, the price to produce Magic the Gathering has increased significantly, and we've especially seen an uptick in cost to produce, manufacture, and ship Magic around the world the past year. So, yeah. 11% on a $3 pack. It's not too crazy.
Not bad.
No.
11% on a box.
$200
for $120, $200. Okay, now you're starting to get up there. Even like
Yeah.
a collector's booster is like $30 right now. So
Yep.
I mean, I get it. It just sucks.
I would like to see how that's going to affect the singles market, because you're going to have a lot of people who aren't buying boxes and reselling. You know, I think it might. It's mostly going to affect the single market. I spend a lot of my time and money in the singles market rather than buying packs.
As you should. I'm not going to, but it is a bad idea to just keep buying packs. I'm going to keep doing it.
Hey, no cap.
It's a gamble.
Loot boxes are bad. I don't know if you knew that.
Listen, when I was 9 and I bought Pokemon cards and I cracked them, I'm searching for that feeling.
Yes,
I know
that is true. Loot
But
boxes
honestly,
tried to recreate that.
Honestly, too, like, if you want to buy packs, do it every Friday night. Go to your local game, sign up for a draft event or take your $15 and put it at an event. You'll get to keep your cards. You might even get some prizes. You might crack a pack and pull some kind of crazy nonsense card. Just because you had a lucky night and cracked enough cards to build a decent deck and win with it.
I'm proud of you.
There's still ways to appease yourself in that without.
Can I share 2
dumping
stories?
Money down the toilet. Yeah,
maybe
2 stories about cracking packs. Okay, back in the day, I was an avid box buyer or just booster pack buyer, right?
Yep.
So one of the crazier experiences. This isn't the craziest. The craziest I'll explain in a minute. One of the crazier experiences is I got like one year for Christmas a few years ago during like Eldritch Moon era. I got a couple of Eldritch Moon booster packs in my stocking, and I was like, oh, this is dope. Like,
cute.
Yeah, I was like, oh, dude, this is sweet. I definitely love this, and I'm gonna open these. And I opened these, and in the first booster I opened a foil with the date on it, Emrakul the Promise End, which is, I just looked up TCG Player, $140 card.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, what? So that kind of spiked me into buying more cards. But a few years later, I was living on my own, and I was like, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go buy a box of Khans of Tarkir. It was one of the most expensive boxes I bought in a very, very long time. And so I bought a box of Khans and pulled a play set of Wooded Foothills, which are each $40 cards.
My gosh.
Out of the box. And if you don't know what Wooded Foothills is, it is one of the best mana. Like, it's just one of those lands where you tap, pay 1 life, search your library for a mountain or a forest, and put it on the battlefield, and you can tap it. It doesn't come in tapped. You can play it immediately. And so it sets your mana up. Like, it's just...
Dang.
I love it so much. It's one of my favorite things on the planet. So they are double sleeved in a deck, but yeah, they don't get played with very often.
My cracking story is that the first thing I ever bought was the first D&D set of Magic thing, and I got the like top 3 most expensive cards in my first
you got out of that set the most expensive card, which is Old Gnawbone.
Yeah, which was like $70.
That card was great.
That
it's
card
broken.
is especially broken in my treasure deck that I made for it.
He's broken in my wolf deck that I made.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't kill it, but I clapped
it.
You guys talking about cards reminded me. something else I desperately want to talk about. I know we're getting more and more time and a little bit more off topic, but these are this is my favorite Pokemon evolution.
Okay. Oh,
this has a point.
That's on topic.
There is a point.
It's trading cards.
Trading cards. So Mareep, Flaffy, and Ampharos are my favorite Pokemon evolution. I have them mint cards from like a 2012, 2010 pack.
You love to see it.
I totally forgot between this recording and our half off apps recording. The new Pokemon games were announced. Their names and everything about them were announced. I totally forgot that. Just everyone pretend this is in the video game section that I was talking about before, because I literally put those back there to remind myself. Okay, so new games, Scarlet and Violet. Very cool. There is a separate professor for each game. There is a separate legendary for each game.
Oh, interesting.
It is, yeah. The separate trainer or separate professor is a new thing. Obviously, there's always a separate legendary, so you'd have to get like both games. You're not going to be able to Pokemon, but it is, there's like Diamond and Pearl, which is like space and time. You have like all these like different back and forths. This is future and past. It's going to be Scarlet and Violet. Some super cool things. One, there's a Pokemon named he's a pig, chunky pig.
I've seen this.
His name is Lechonk.
They knew what they were doing.
They knew exactly what they were doing.
Lechonk.
And then
his name is Lechonk. I choose you, Lechonk.
I cried during the reveal because we finally got this right here. Flaffy is in the reveal trailer. One of my favorite Pokemon evolutions. Definitely is going to be on my team. I have a feeling this is using assets from the last Pokemon game. So the last Pokemon game and the one before that, we didn't have all of the Pokemon. New game uses assets from the last one and the one before it. So I think we're going to have an ultimate situation where everyone is here. So I think we're going to get, hopefully, all of the Pokemon in this game, which is like over 1,000.
So you can literally catch them all.
Super exciting, and I can finally have my dream team. Anyways, the coolest part of this game I am most excited about is that, normally you can trade with people, you can fight people, you can do things with other players. Like, there's always that Link Connect for like Game Boys and stuff. This one, you can actually, in the world, the whole story is 4-player co-op. The whole game is co-op if you would want it to. You can bring people from their worlds into your worlds. You can explore. You can play together. You can capture Pokemon together. You can fight together. I also cried at that point.
So many questions.
Are we doing a tabletop
It looks like there's a
playthrough?
tabletop playthrough of Scarlet and Violet. Imagine Patreon content. But anyways, I'm a huge Pokemon fan, so I just wanted to bring that up.
If it was truly unlimited, I would pick my dream team like nostalgia based. Just like for some reason one game before TikTok content creators were like forcing themselves into challenges. I was like, I'm gonna be a bird tamer. I'm gonna use only flying Pokemon this whole game. I cheated, obviously, with Torchic was my pick.
Right.
But there's like a gray area there, right?
There's a gray area there.
But I had a Skarmory. What a
that's awesome.
What a boss.
You love to see that.
And then I had a Wingull for my water type. It was just a good squad. It was a good squad of flyers.
I know. I think I got Jared to buy the newest
Sword
Pokemon.
and Shield.
Sword and Shield. Is that your first Pokemon game?
It is my. So I played several hours of Pokemon Yellow on the Game Boy Color.
Fair enough.
As we all did.
Who didn't?
So, yeah.
Okay, to be fair, I'm a little bit younger than you guys. I played it emulated on my phone, but yes.
Count it.
I love that. It still works. And then I really, really got into Sword and Shield and completed it. So I love it, and I've got like I felt like that was one of the biggest things that was missing from the game for me, because Parker and I would play it together, or you and I would play it together before D&D on Tuesdays.
They just like fight
and
trade and stuff.
And fight and trade and stuff, and then Parker and I would play, and we just sit next to each other and talk about nicknames and what we're catching, what we're doing, and then just be silent, and there'd be button clicking, and the occasional bowel movement rectally. But but I love that there's a multiplayer aspect. That sounds like, I was like, okay, you know what? I will play that. I will buy that, because just purely because of the multiplayer aspect of it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's really, really cool.
So I'm super excited about that. Try to cut the line. But...
No, I think that was some really critical information.
Yeah.
It was.
It was important. Very critical.
Oh,
guys,
we're so good at transitions.
Just dab a few times, dude.
It's an issue that we bring up every
shout
time,
out
but we're
this
so
little.
good at it.
You were so good. I wanted to shout out this little morsel. This little morsel.
This little
if you love,
Eddie.
Yeah, it's just a little taste. If you love D&D,
yeah,
Critical Role is doing some great stuff right now. Number one, they're a company. They've got their own merch line, but within the merch line, in the world of fashion, there are what they call collections. And I've just recently learned this. They have like a specific collection that is like in that overlap of like, here's just like a nerd t-shirt, but also here's like a practical and stylish thing to wear. So they've got some items there. I copped the Daddy Travis like long sleeve kind of aqua blue like kind of sweater long sleeve, and it looks great. It looks great.
I will also say,
that is a good story.
So I bought a t-shirt at the same time you bought that.
Yeah,
I
was
Enter the Meat Man reunion t-shirt, reunion tour t-shirt. It was one night while Porter and I were on talking about the podcast and kind of planning what we're gonna do. Mason wasn't able to do it. He was out being an amazing person, saving the world.
He literally was.
Basically being a superhero to have on him.
We were just like looking out. These are cool.
Like we both kind of casually like moved towards the website and then moved into products, and we're like, Porter was like, said it perfectly, like, this is really cool. I'm gonna add the cart, and then we both were like, nah, we shouldn't buy it. Not gonna buy it.
I think we both casually left to go get our credit cards.
Yeah, we both I was like,
let's go around the bathroom real quick.
I gotta go change my diaper, and like ran out. Ran back in, and then 5 minutes later, we were both like, "Yeah, I bought a t-shirt." He's like, "Yeah, I bought a sweater." like it's one of those things
cool.
They
told me this, and
wear it all the time.
They're so subtle, and they're so like, if you don't know, I can't help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like what tour is that even? Like, if you don't get it,
I didn't even know.
Dude.
Jared was wearing it last time we played D&D. I was like, "Oh, it's actually a Metallica shirt." And I didn't read it. And he's like, "I'm disappointed in you." I was like, "About what?" He's like, "My t-shirt." I was like, "Oh my gosh, I literally thought it was a Metallica shirt." It says Scanlan Reunion Tour, and then it has all the
no, it says
places.
Scanlan Enter the Meat Man Reunion Tour.
Yeah.
and in the back it has all the places they visited, is the tour date stuff. And it's just cool. And then like they just did such a good job.
Yeah.
They just do such a good job with their stuff. And this Calamity mini-series.
The last episode just came out.
Speaking of a good job, Calamity. Holy
peak
cow.
D&D. Brennan Lee Mulligan, in my opinion, is like, listen, Matt Mercer's the GOAT. He's going to build you a world. What do you want to do? Brennan Lee Mulligan tends to be like, get on the train and ride. But oh my God, GAWD. The train is going places that will just blow your mind.
300 miles an hour.
Dude,
like
it's so crazy because he introduces things and then like you don't know. Like it's literally like cliffhangers in 2-second intervals that make you go on like this roller coaster of emotions where you're just like, what is happening? If you the
first 20 minutes of the first episode, I never sweat so much in my life sitting in one spot doing nothing. My heart rate was through the roof. My Apple Watch was like, "Hey, are you good?" you should stand up, kind of a thing. Like,
It was
I-
wild.
so good.
Next day, chatting, small talk with the lady. Hey, how'd you sleep last night? And I was like, I went to bed so late. She's like, why? And I was like, listen, because Brandon Lee Mulligan is just an amazing DM, and like I was just locked in. I was like, it was like a book I couldn't put down. Like I can kind of catch up on Critical Role for the most part, and snag 40 minutes here, 25, 30 minutes here throughout my day to day if I'm working on stuff or whatever. Don't tell my boss. But
Respectfully,
this was like a book I could not put down.
It's so good.
Yeah. It was so good.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was working on a commander deck, and it was just had it on my computer monitor, and I was watching
so
it.
addicted.
I have an issue,
I
guys.
failed
You know
you.
how I feel about deck building. And I ordered so many cards. Just so many cards were ordered. Don't tell my wife. JK, she's already yelled at me.
It's a good thing that she like isn't a fan of like. I mean, she's a fan of you.
Yeah.
She's a fan of
Not my face.
podcasts.
Yeah.
But probably not this podcast.
No, she's a fan of this podcast. She listens.
Oh.
She's one of the 11 people.
I can guarantee you, my girlfriend will maybe listen, will not listen this far in. So
That's fair.
You're good. I love you, Emma,
So-
but you're not listening right here.
Right. It's just so good. And
Yeah.
I respect his DMing style so much because like where Matt Mercer tells this wonderful story with so much meat in it, and then like, hey, what do you want to do? Like you said it best, like Brandon Lee Mulligan's like, you get on this train or you can just sit in the back and not do anything. And he puts players on the spot and stretches them in such a cool way where it's not, you can see they're not stressed, but they're at such a level of enjoyment.
Yeah.
That they want to be involved. And I think that is like one, if it's hard to attain as somebody who's a new DM, I struggle with that.
Yeah.
But it is just so fun. I'm sitting there working on this commander deck, and I realized an hour in, I'm just like, I have a handful of cards, and they're like sitting in my hand gingerly as I'm just like looking at the screen. And like I have headphones on, and I'm just drooling, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
I was in the same thing. I was playing video games. I was playing a game called 20 Minutes Till Dawn. It's very fun, very quick indie game.
Sweet.
Check it out. It's like $3. And I paused it. I realized, and I was just staring at the screen on my right monitor. D&D, and I was just like glancing at it like this. Like I'm gonna go back to my game, but I just need to know what happened. And I was like this for like half an hour. I was like, it's so good. Like Brandon Lee Mulligan has a way of like, there's a balance that you need to have as a DM of railroading your characters because you can only plan for so much. Like you can build this massive world, but especially in a 4-part miniseries, like what I love so much about Brandon Lee Mulligan is his ability to direct players. Because like Matt Mercer's really good. He can build the whole world, and then he'll just let the players play in the world because he has all the time. The series can take over 300 episodes, 4 hours each. He doesn't care. He has the whole world planned out. Whereas Brandon Lee Mulligan's like, I have things, and they're going to hit hard because of my English degree. And it's just like
and my improv degree,
English and improv and acting.
I saw a TikTok. Shout out TikTok if you're watching this. But where he's a master of the improv technique called yes and.
Yeah.
So how you kill a joke in like an improv setting is by saying no to something or taking a different direction. So the master is the yes and. So you get the piece of information delivered to you. How you respond to that is yes, and this happens because of that. Yes, and this. So like the iconic moment. If you haven't seen it, spoilers, not bad spoilers.
What episode?
They go 1, I think. Okay. Even maybe
I've
2,
only seen 1 and 2. I'm still working on it.
Hey, you're good.
I was gone for a week.
Yeah, definitely not farther than 2, but one of his players in true just role-playing fashion brings a surprise +1 to this engagement. And he, instead of saying something like, I don't, you didn't get a +1 on the invite, or I don't think you would have been able to do that, he just rolls right into a hilarious and fun voice for this character.
Yep.
This character
So good.
instantly becomes canon, doesn't interrupt or disrupt the flow of the evening,
No.
but is such a fun moment for the
So good.
players and the table and us. We get to watch it. Oh, just top tier DMing right there.
Two DMs who do that really good.
Yeah.
Jared might be saying this also. Brendan Lee Mulligan and Anthony Birch from Dungeons and Daddies.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Anthony Birch is so good. He's one of the writers for Borderlands 2. Literally,
wow. His sister is Tiny Tina.
Yeah, his sister's Tiny Tina. Like, he is literally the man when it comes to, one, I'm DMing for an hour and a half. So read quick and concise because I want people to enjoy it. But two, like, understands story beats and the way a story should flow and how a story should be written, like, and what the audience wants to hear. I want to say two things about Calamity real quick. Number one, his storytelling made me sit on the edge of my seat the entire time of episode 1 because the dang thing is called Calamity. I am waiting because he sets up this massive, aggressive, Eldritch dream for the paladin in the first episode, right? And you're like, oh my god, this is freaking nuts! And then all of a sudden, it goes to a dinner party, and everything's perfect, everything's amazing, everything's glorious, and I'm waiting for like the whole lid to blow off and like people to be dying. But it's just like, yeah, that was good. Like, everything's great. And then also the characters. What makes a good campaign is a good character. Lou Wilson.
Lou Wilson.
GOAT.
They put Lou Wilson.
Daddy Lou, dude.
Lou Wilson and Travis Willingham on the same episode was
on the same side of the
greatest
table.
thing of all time. It was wild.
Did it not feel like an all-star game?
It did.
It literally did.
A little bit.
It literally did.
Literally did.
And then I have Sam Riegel, which everybody, you love Sam Riegel.
You gotta love Sam.
You gotta love Sam Riegel. Bria Wilson, Marisha Ray, and who's the other?
I like Bria. I think she's really great. I think that, like, I feel like I don't know if she's my favorite DM, but she's way up there with one of my favorite players to watch.
Oh, 100%.
But that would be almost 100%. Like, I say that in a way that, like, if I was watching basketball, like a young Derrick Rose is like my favorite dribbler, but not my favorite shooter. My favorite dunker. Like, still,
this is nothing.
Love and respect, but like, there's a sports analogy crossover right there. Yeah, you know, I got it.
I'm so sorry.
Hey,
this is nothing to me.
I'm here with you.
Yeah.
But I respect it,
dude.
Yeah,
it's
and who's
who's
the final guy? Because we also have why can I only say Keyleth? Marisha Ray. I love Marisha in this one. So freaking good.
Yeah.
The final dude is the glue. Like, totally 100%.
Yeah.
This crew.
Who is that guy? Where does he come from? I don't know
no
anything
clue
about him up until this.
This whole crew would be unhinged, especially with Brennan as their DM. This dude is the most paladin that, like, plays it not in like a, like, he plays it so well. Like, he is the lead of the guard, and he is this paladin who, like, doesn't have any god that he leads to, and it's like, oh, Louis good.
Louis Carrizo.
Yeah.
Louis Carrizo. The dude, as a paladin main, he's got a freaking griffin, and it's an astral griffin.
So cool.
Like, it is just, dude, seriously, this is like
it's a textbook podcast. It's like four episodes. 4 episodes, 4 hours each. Chaos.
Just
Love
sit
it.
and listen to it or watch it. Like, either or. Like, I have the opportunity to listen to podcasts while I work freely because I slice meat a lot at work for hours. And I get to sit and listen to a podcast, and just, you can ask any of my coworkers if you know who they are. They will watch me at one point laugh my head off without any warning. I'm sitting there at a meat slicer, slicing turkey, laughing out loud. And like, or at one point I'm getting teary-eyed, or I'm like talking to myself because it is just such an attractive show at all aspects. Like, listen to it, watch it.
I will also
So
say
good.
another really good D&D show, Stranger Things. Boom! Transition, baby.
Wow. He just
Bam.
crit on that segue. You crit
Okay.
on that segue.
Bam.
I'm going to be honest. I've only
Bam.
seen episode 1 of the new season of Stranger Things.
Okay.
And I love it. I've seen all of Stranger Things before it. It is, if you haven't gotten into it, I would highly recommend the show. All of the like monsters are not based off of, but like all the kids are like, oh, this is like the monster we're currently fighting in our campaign, so this is what we're related to, is like Demogorgon, Mind Flayer, and now it's not really spoilers, it's all over the internet, Vecna, which if you know anything about D&D, oh my gosh, you see Vecna, you're done, you're dead, you're out of the game, you roll new characters, because like Vecna is scary.
I think if you were to put a timeline on like the past 5 years and how D&D has ticked up in popularity, I do think that Stranger Things moved the needle on that, because they did the thing, and then all of a sudden, like, 2 years after, maybe like 2 years after season 1 of Stranger Things, we go into lockdown. No one knows what to do. Everyone's bored at home, and then D&D is actually so easy to do with like Zoom or FaceTime or Discord. And I think we can all say that like it was part of this movement that made nerds cool.
Yeah, 100%, because it was Critical Role. So there's the actual, like, someone made a graph of it. It's like Critical Role, and it's like slowly and exponentially going up. And then it is Stranger Things, and you can see she goes whoop. And so it's like, obviously Critical Role was like a big part of it becoming less nerdy, because all these characters and people who we love from these TV shows and video games, and then Stranger Things, which is a mainstream thing for D&D, made it go insanely like popular. And
did you ever watch TikTok after like season 2 or 3 of Stranger Things when like it began to like full bore sprint, like D&D became super huge, super mainstream? On TikTok, people were posting player applications or character applications. Like they're like cosplaying his own character, or just saying like, "Hey, this is my character. This is what he does. This is who he is, like, or who she is." Like, I'm looking for a D&D campaign to join.
Be a DM for me.
Doing application. They were like doing applications for their characters.
So like, if you haven't gotten into Stranger Things, now's a great time, especially with the new season. So I had a chance to talk to someone who has seen the whole thing, and she was very passionate about it. So part 2 of this season is going to be coming out in a week from now. So you currently have time to catch up. No new episodes are coming out for a little bit. And so part 2 is going to be coming out in a week from now. And then the final season will be coming out, I think, next year or in 2 years. And that is going to be an episode by episode weekly release leading up to the grand finale. And
I'm glad they're doing that, because Disney Plus, we thought, oh, that model's dead. Disney Plus revived it.
Well,
and it works again.
The thing is, I was explaining it, and I was like, it as like a person with like an adult job, sadly, where I like 9 to 5, weekdays, I can't binge watch shows anymore, sadly, because like I just don't have the time. And so like those weekly releases where I can be like excited, I have like this night to watch TV shows, and this episode's coming out, and I'm so excited. I'm like, I feel like a boomer adult, but I can still appreciate it. And like weekly episodes are kind of very fun, because then you're also like amped for the next week. Yeah, and like it is fun to binge watch shows, but at the same time, like having something to look forward to every week for like 2 months is like, oh.
I do think too that, Mason, like, just your contribution to the nerd world is fantastic. If you had more time to devote to the consuming that content and having opinions on it, and I mean, if people like would just like flood the Patreon, you could quit. We could all just quit our day job.
True.
Do this full time.
I wouldn't, because I do love working for the church and the Lord. However, I'm just saying, like,
IT.
people light up that Patreon. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get Mason out of there. Let's get him into business cash, what he decides it is all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? Let's buy this man a house off our Patreon goals. That's what we're doing right now.
Hey, freaking man, dude.
I will also say, Stranger Things, super good. Highly recommend watching it. You have so many episodes to watch. Feel free to binge it. It's super good, super fun, superpowers.
Yeah.
D&D references, 80s like cool references that feel like modern and like the kids are fun, and superpowers make it feel so cool. There is another show that recently, I think, or is still coming out, that has a similar vibe of 80s, of super cool space wizards with magical powers, but they also have glowing swords.
Oh, okay. I was like, where are you going with this?
I'll let anyone else finish that thought.
You don't believe in that space magic, do you?
Yeah. Dude, that show, I have one, it's Kenobi, obviously, right? I have never been more disappointed in a fan base in my entire life. Like,
it's that same Uncle Iroh idea of like, let it play out. Like,
yeah,
the story's coming.
Or like people like, I'm like disappointed in this like Star Wars theory. Like, he's like, you're just expecting me to eat this up and be happy about it. And I'm like, yeah, we're getting Kenobi. Like this was like, they hinted at it, and for years Ewan McGregor was turning it down. Like, it's just like, yeah, some of the writing things are crappy and not the greatest, and some of the action scenes could use some help and things like that. But like, it's still a Star Wars story. I'm just happy to get Star Wars content. I'm happy to see Kenobi. I'm happy to see
Ewan
like
McGregor's
Luke
back.
and Leia. Yeah, happy to see Darth Vader.
Listen,
I'm happy that Hayden Christensen got the easiest buck of his life. Like,
so far, yeah, dude. I know it's a hot take, but do not come for little Leia. People are upset at her. She is the
do not
cutest
understand
thing.
that at all.
I love little Leia. I'm all in. Have you ever seen a child actor?
Yeah.
They're child actors, okay?
Exactly.
They're fine. She's the new 11, in my opinion.
100%.
That's my take.
I've never seen Stranger Things, so
when 11,
what?
Yeah, I've never seen a single episode of Stranger Things. I was gonna say, you sold me on it tonight, so I might start watching it tonight.
Dude. Yeah, we should have like a Stranger Things watch party.
I'd be down
on our Patreon. We're pushing that so hard. I love it.
But we discussed this a little bit. Mason is one episode behind, so I'm not going to tell you what I thought of the latest. We're up to 5 episodes. Yeah. But I'll just simply say that, like, I'm the same way. I like the new Star Wars concept, and please, like, approach it with an understanding. Like, if you can allow yourself to think a little practically, some of the stuff is forgiving. Like, okay, so we got 2 A-list celebrities involved in what is technically a miniseries TV show. Yeah. So, like, okay, for instance, here's a good parallel. I'm planning a wedding. Me and my fiance are planning a wedding.
Right.
We could spend all of our money on the venue and not have as much money for these, like, little things like decorations and flowers and a 4-course meal. Or we could go all in on food and have it at a different wedding, right? So, like, McDonald's. Where is the money going for these budgets? Like, these things have a budget. In order to make money, they're going to stay under a certain budget. So you're going to bring in 2 A-list celebrities. You're probably your camera and lighting people are not the top tier of Hollywood.
100%.
I think that's okay to forgive.
Yeah. And a great point that actually Ewan McGregor made was this show isn't for us. It isn't for us 3. It is Star Wars is for children. Like
100%.
Star Wars is for children.
Say it for louder for the people in the back.
No.
Hey, I'm 45 years old and I'm upset. Like, no, it's not for you,
It's
dude.
made by Disney for children.
I'm sorry,
just like Avengers, just like Disney movies.
Yeah.
It is made for someone who actually still has hope in their heart, unlike the people of this age who just poop on a show for it existing.
Go in.
If you
literally just don't hold back, dog.
Yeah, if you would just come at life at a different angle of just like, I'm going to enjoy this, and like look at all the cool things. Like, we just like the first time we see Darth Vader in this, it's just like, dang. Like,
I am what you made me.
Yeah.
Gave me chills. Made my son cry. Like, by the way,
not that young of children.
Well, yeah, he's a year old, but I get to watch that every single Wednesday morning with my son. Like, it's our tradition. Like it's for people. Like,
that's adorable.
But like, it's something where like, hey, this is something that I grew up with. It's not the exact same thing that I grew up with, but people who have taken the story, who've been trained by George Lucas, who know the story a little bit better than George Lucas now, like, have written this story for the next generation of Star Wars fans, right?
And it's not that we've been overlooked. The casting is for us.
Yes.
The casting is 100%.
James Earl Jones as the voice is for the people older than us three.
Yeah.
Yes.
The cameo of a clone trooper, homeless man clone trooper begging for money. That's not for us either. That's for
me.
That's for you.
That's for me.
And your age group.
That's my
age. It's for Clone Wars people.
Oh my gosh.
I can still love those. I can still enjoy those. Clone Wars is a great series. Bad Batch, people are like, the writing's kind of shallow. It's a cartoon.
Wait, people don't like Bad Batch?
Cartoon,
this is the first I'm hearing that people don't like Bad Batch. I thought that was like inner. I thought everyone loved that. I love that.
I
once
love
again,
you should.
That's for my generation.
Yeah, but like no, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna sit here and defend every Star Wars decision Disney has made, because my take is pretty simple. As soon as you bring back Palpatine, you've erased a redemption arc. You've made it useless, and that's where I heard. That's where I went. Okay, so like your contribution makes the whole a bad story by my definition of a good versus bad story. That could still be my opinion, whatever. But my thought process is like, Bad Batch. I'm 32. Bad Batch isn't written for me. Okay, I can watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I'm watching it, looking and waiting to see how it connects to my Star Wars, which was episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Those were my Star Wars experiences. So how does it connect to those? That's what I'm looking at. Not whether or not it's in-depth story writing.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is great. Honestly, we were blessed by Gary Whitta and the team that wrote Rogue One. That movie was more than we deserved as far as like a non-original Star Wars movie.
Like,
that movie was
you should be set
perfect
for years after Rogue One. Like, you like just be happy. Like, you got Rogue One, you get upset when you're writing, go back to Rogue One. People get like, one of our good buddies, Parker, believes that Episode 8 was one of the worst movies of all time. Rian Johnson probably is one of the worst directors of all time. I'll say it. I'm not a big fan of him. Like, there's a reason why Justice League got redone. Like, it's just like, there's like, he's just like, he's not a good director. He's not a good storyteller. Like,
I'll be honest.
But at the same time, what?
I was gonna say, I'll be honest. I am defending Star Wars right now, but also, I didn't like the much.
No, what it was bad writing but good
though.
Star Wars. It was bad writing but good Star Wars. That's all it was.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to watch.
Bad writing. If I will say this,
I was just gonna say, and one thing that was really always interesting to me, the comedic timing being a difference. Like the 70s
Yeah.
Comedic timing is not the 90s comedic timing, is not 2000s comedic timing.
Right.
Like the jokes in the original Star Wars aren't really that funny.
And there's like
right
3
now.
of them. There's like 3 of them.
Yeah, and it's like that's kind of the point. That's how you wrote in there, and it's fine. But now it's like, we just tried to give. We thought you wanted it because you like the Marvel movies so much. You like Robert Downey Jr. and you like Chris Hemsworth and how they're like Chris Pratt and everyone's like funny like that. We thought you would like that, and it's like, well, we do, just not in Star Wars. It's like, well, wait a minute, just chill.
Be
though.
happy about it, you know.
Fine.
Like
you can.
I will
be
say
happy
this
about it. It's
Episode
weird.
8 is a scene for scene reshot / reskin of Empire Strikes Back.
That's true.
I thought you were gonna say Emperor's New Groove.
Emperor's New Groove.
that too. But like, it's almost a reshoot. There's some different scenes and a reskin, obviously, but it's a reshoot of Empire Strikes Back. And if you hate that movie, you obviously don't like one of the best Star Wars movies of all time, right?
And that's on you.
Because it's Empire Strikes Back. It's just some of the story elements are a little rotated. It's the same movie. Like, don't get mad at it. Like, also,
with the same villain.
People get so frustrated about the storytelling, about how there's no good resolution at the end of there's always a greater evil. It's because of George Lucas. He creates something called the Force, and the Force always needs balance. It's not good storytelling. You have something that always needs balance, where there's always going to be returning evil. It's not good storytelling, right? Like, that's the simple.
Spoilers for my first.
We like to do.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go on.
Go ahead. No, Mason. Go ahead.
I was gonna say spoilers for my first ever D&D campaign. That is part of the plot, and we didn't ever finish that campaign. I'm going to eventually. So if you're from my original party, stop listening now. You can just skip to later.
Yeah.
Basically, there's the weave, which is all of magic, and then there's the void, which is the absence of magic, and they're basically always in a fight together. And so there's people who want one stronger than the other, very much so the dark side, light side, kind of trying to balance each other out. And so I was trying to figure out like what I was doing with that for the longest time. And then I was like, oh, I'm just going to destroy both of them. Like the world is going to be flooded into chaos. I'm going to destroy both of them and figure out what to do from there. For a second. Yes. And that's what I want the second campaign to be. So.
I love it. I just think it's like, again, there's no resolution, otherwise you destroy both of them, right?
Yeah.
Like, otherwise, there's time of great peace and there's time of great sorrow. And in the midst of that, at balance, there's war. And it's unrest. That's not good storytelling. There's no resolution there.
And the real spoiler alert is love it or hate it. This is just where I stand, and I speak for these guys a little bit too in this area, but like we're believers in Christianity. So like in our frame reference, like good always triumphs over evil. So there is no balance. Like at the end, good prevails like in a hard. And so we would
just
consider
like
that
every
good story
movie
as well. Yeah, so like we're in this what to Jared's point, it's like there's always good and there's always evil.
Yeah.
It's like sure. I mean, we'll play that out, and if that's the rule for this franchise, but
it's one of the biggest, smartest business decisions I've ever seen from a person in my entire life.
Yeah.
To
and then also
a story with no resolution, but people want it consistently.
Yeah, they think it's whenever something blows up, they think it's the end. But the whole point of the dark side is like, listen, we got backup plans for our backup plans.
Back.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's just one of those things where it's like you just get disappointed at Star Wars fans, and it's like, yeah, there's some things that are weird about Kenobi, but Kenobi is such a good story. I love that you get to watch.
Like a weirdly intelligent and informed Star Wars fan? Freddie Prinze Jr. If you ever get time, go start looking that guy's Freddie Prinze Jr. The guy from Scooby Doo has some hot and I would say pretty accurate takes on Star Wars and the franchise.
His take sorry, go on.
No, you're right. You're right. His takes on George Lucas, and he'll cite George Lucas in a lot of his takes. They're spot on. You want to like you think there's I mean, we literally profess to be three like average and amateur non-experts on everything we talk about. I'd say he's pretty darn near an expert.
Yeah, no, the dude.
Guy's been on Wikipedia.
He's done his research, and it's my whole rant I just did about not good storytelling is from him. Like, he rants about that, like, it's again, yeah. So again, I think it's really good writing. I think they did a really good job of the scene in episode 1 where Kenobi woke up from that nightmare. And the first thing he does is he like sits up and takes a breath and he says, "Master." Like he's calling out for his dad, you know, like it's him struggling with PTSD, him struggling with depression and anxiety. And he's looking for the only person he can trust and or talk to about what he's going through. And there's no response. Like,
yeah. And I think like definitely Patreon content or even just this content, we could, when it's all wrapped up in a bow, we'll kind of dissect it a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit more about like what I can forgive, and then one stuff that I'm like, nah, you got to be better on that, because I've got takes on both sides of that. But the reality is that's kind of stuff that like you're just gonna have to find out if you go subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah. So I feel like the resolve of this episode, if you haven't learned anything, the result of this episode, from everything we've talked about, from Avatar to Star Wars to new video games that are coming out, just be open to it. Be available. Yeah. Be willing to like absorb this knowledge. It's okay if you don't like everything. Not everything's made for you. And so I think that is kind of the synopsis of this episode. Besides all the cool news stuff we talked about, shows, the kind of fun stuff. If you're taking a lesson, take the idea of be more open to the world. Yeah. Not everyone is the same person as you. Not everyone has the same likes and interests as you. But we're all people, and we should all like appreciate each other and the things that we work on and work really hard for. And stop gatekeeping. Yeah. I would drop my microphone, but it's attached by a cord. Yeah, you should. That was beautiful. That's exactly what this whole table talk thing is about. Is like making this stuff accessible to everybody else. You know. Yep. That's true. I forgot about that. So true. So you have resources. We're a resource. YouTube is a resource. Brandon Lee Mulligan is a resource. You can just go look at Matt He's got Mercer. A lot of content that you can just go to. Yeah. Go listen to Dungeons and Daddies if you don't have a lot of time but want to get into D&D or just a fun version of D&D. Go listen to Dungeons and Daddies. The Adventure Zone. Hilarious. Adventure Zone is so stinking funny. Dark Dice is, if you're looking for real play craziness, half hour to 45-minute episodes, go listen to Dark Dice. Jeff Goldblum is in it. That's playing D&D, and he is the low-key hot take. Saw Jurassic Park. Jeff Goldblum as Jeff Goldblum. It's all he does is play Jeff Goldblum. But there's a musical episode where he sings in it, and they stretch him like it's a real play story, and it's 45-minute episodes. Go check it out. Like, then subscribe to our Patreon, and we'll do a one shot and or several shot, or run a campaign. Hard to kill you. I don't think we know how to end it. I got the ending. Don't worry, I'll wrap this up in a bow. This is the end of episode 1. The end. It's a real bye. Go subscribe. Go subscribe. Actually, just like Patreon is fun. If you like to do that, that's awesome. We're actually aren't begging for your money. We just want you to have fun, as much fun as we do talking about this stuff. We do have YouTube. We want to record content and it have a purpose. Yeah, that's all the Patreon is. That's all it is. We're gonna throw it up on Spotify. It's gonna be on Spotify. You might even be listening to it here. You watch it on YouTube if you like the vlog or the V pod style. You get to see aneurysms and expressions and faces and foreheads. When I was saying things like I got this and didn't do any favors to our audio only people. And, yeah, that's true. What card I was? Dang it! I'm normally on top of that. Of ancient copper dragon alternate art. But I believe the year was 2017, and something rang true in my soul. And it was as I was getting more into D&D, and it was as I
I think it was when I decided to go ahead and just go to Comic-Con by myself for the first time. It's just so simple. Just go do the things you like to do. Go do them. Go watch them. Go play them. Go listen to other people doing them. And that is such a wide variety from sports to Dungeons and Dragons. Just go do the things you like to do. You're going to meet really cool people. You're going to have a lot of fun doing things you wouldn't normally do. And just do it. It's fun. Just be a nerd.
So fun, dude. I have a friend who just came to our game night last week on Tuesday, and he was like nervous about meeting a new group of players and new people, which is fine. But he was like, I just don't want to let this level of nerdness out to people. And I was like,
and then he met
what?
Our friend.
And he's like one of the most avid Commander players, Magic the Gathering players, like super nerd, right? And I was like, why are you afraid of it? It's who you are. It's what you like to do. Like, everybody in my family knows, and my in-laws, like everybody knows I play D&D because, one, if you love me and are okay with me, you're okay with what I do. Like, you're okay with what I'm into. And if they're not okay with the hobbies you love, you don't want to be around them. I guarantee if you are
hold on.
People,
dump them. Get them out.
Chill on that.
Get them out.
I'm not the biggest fan of D&D.
Get them out. Get them out.
But like,
100% agree.
Dude, yeah, I saw one of the most confident people my entire life a few weeks ago at work. She walks up, and I was covering for our barista for a minute or two, and she had this like cool skeleton thing on her hand that like had like a metal bone that went over everything. I'm like, oh, that's a really cool hand, like jewelry piece. And she goes, yeah, it's for my D&D character. It's a little thing of costume I wear. We're gonna go play an 8-hour session. And I'm like, it's 7 a.m. in the morning, and she's like, yeah, we're gonna go run an 8-hour session. We started this because this works for everybody, and we play like twice a month. And I was like, that is so cool. I also play D&D, and for like a half hour, we just talked about our D&D characters.
Yeah,
and
there are more nerds out there than you think. I bought dice at Barnes and Noble because it was convenient. Of course, the lady at the cash register says, "Oh, are these for D&D?" Absolutely. Oh, awesome. Good. And then a couple back and forth jokes, and then she said, well, good luck. I said, I hope they're not good luck because they're for my players and I'm the DM, so I hope they're all terrible. And then we both laughed because we knew what we were talking about. But that's a great way. Those are great stories to end our episode. Listen, it's a great time to be a nerd.
Yep.
Go do the things you like to do. Go do the nerdy things you like to do. And what could go wrong? So what? So maybe you find out you actually don't like to do something. Worst case scenario.
That's perfect.
No big deal. That's perfect.
Yeah. So everyone, thank you so much for listening. We will be back hopefully next month, or maybe sooner. Especially if you follow us on Patreon. We will 100% be back sooner. Look for our content around on social media, on a bunch of different stuff. Look out for that half off app episode. And thank you all so much for listening. We love you. Go be a nerd.
Stay sweet.
I need a cool sign off. Ah!
That's Porter sign off.
Ah! You're just like, go be a nerd. You said stay sweet. What was I supposed to do?